The Discourses of Epictetus. Translated by George Long. Book 4. Chapter 7. On Freedom from Fear. What makes the tyrant formidable? The guards, you say, and their swords, and the men of the bedchamber, and those who exclude them, who would enter. Why then, if you bring a boy, child, to the tyrant when he is with his guards, is he not afraid, or is it because the child does not understand these things? If then any man does understand what guards are and that they have swords, and comes to the tyrant for this very purpose, because he wishes to die on account of some circumstance and seeks to die easily by the hand of another, is he afraid of the guards? No, for he wishes for the thing which makes the guards formidable. If then any man neither wishing to die, nor to live by all means, but only as it may be permitted, approaches the tyrant, what hinders him from approaching the tyrant without fear? Nothing. If then a man has the same opinion about his property as the man whom I have instanced has about his body, and also about his children and his wife, and in a word is so affected by some madness or despair that he cares not whether he possesses them or not, but like children who are playing with shells quarrel about the play, but do not trouble themselves about the shells. So he too has set no value on the materials, things, but values the pleasure that he has with them and the occupation. What tyrant is then formidable to him, or what guards, or what swords? Then through madness is it possible for a man to be so disposed towards these things, and the Galileans through habit, and is it possible that no man can learn from reason and from demonstration that God has made all the things in the universe and the universe itself completely free from hindrance and perfect, and the parts of it for the use of the whole? All other animals indeed are incapable of comprehending the administration of it, but the rational animal, man, has faculties for the consideration of all these things, and for understanding that it is a part, and what kind of a part it is, and that it is right for the parts to be subordinate to the whole. And besides this being naturally noble, magnanimous, and free, man sees that of the things which surround him some are free from hindrance and in his power, and the other things are subject to hindrance and in the power of others, that the things which are free from hindrance are in the power of the will, and those which are subject to hindrance are the things which are not in the power of the will. And for this reason, if he thinks that his good and his interest be in these things only which are free from hindrance and in his own power, he will be free, prosperous, happy, free from harm, magnanimous, pious, thankful to God for all things, in no matter finding fault with any of the things which have not been put in his power, nor blaming any of them. But if he thinks that his good and his interest are in externals and in things which are not in the power of his will, he must of necessity be hindered, be impeded, be a slave to those who have the power over the things which he admires, desires, and fears, and he must of necessity be impious because he thinks that he is harmed by God, and he must be unjust because he always claims more than belongs to him, and he must of necessity be abject and mean. What hinders a man, who is clearly separated, comprehended, these things, from living with a light heart and bearing easily the reins, quietly expecting everything which can happen, and enduring that which has already happened? Would you have me to bear poverty? Come and you will know what poverty is when it is found one who can act well the part of a poor man. Would you have me to possess power? Let me have power, and also the trouble of it. Well, banishment? Wherever I shall go, there it will be well with me. For here also where I am, it was not because of the place that it was well with me, but because of my opinions which I shall carry off with me, for neither can any man deprive me of them, but my opinions alone are mine and they cannot be taken from me. And I am satisfied while I have them, wherever I may be and whatever I am doing. But now it is time to die. Why do you say to die? Make no tragedy show of the thing, but speak of it as it is. It is now time for the matter of the body to be resolved into the things out of which it was composed. And what is the formidable thing here? What is going to perish of the things which are in the universe? What new thing or wondrous is going to happen? Is it for this reason that a tyrant is formidable? Is it for this reason that the guards appear to have swords which are large and sharp? Say this to others, but I have considered about all these things, no man has power over me. I have been made free, I know his commands, no man can now lead me as a slave. I have a proper person to assert my freedom, I have proper judges. I say, are you not the master of my body? What then is that to me? Are you not the master of my property? What then is that to me? Are you not the master of my exile or of my chains? Well, from all these things and all the poor body itself I depart at your bidding, when you please. Make trial of your power, and you will know how far it reaches. Whom then can I still fear? Those who are over the bedchamber. Lest they should do, what? Shut me out? If they find that I wish to enter, let them shut me out. Why then do you go to the doors? Because I think it befits me, while the play, sport, lasts, to join in it. How then are you not shut out? Because unless someone allows me to go in, I do not choose to go in, but am always content with that which happens, for I think that what God chooses is better than what I choose. I will attach myself as a minister and follower to him, I have the same movements, pursuits, as he has, I have the same desires, in a word, I have the same will, sonfellow. There is no shutting out for me, but for those who would force their way in. Why then do not I force my way in? Because I know that nothing good is distributed within to those who enter. But when I hear any man called fortunate because he is honored by Caesar, I say, what does he happen to get? A province, the government of a province. Does he also obtain an opinion such as he ought? The office of a prefect. Does he also obtain the power of using his office well? Why do I still strive to enter Caesar's chamber? A man scatters dried figs and nuts, the children seize them, and fight with one another, men do not, for they think them to be a small matter. But if a man should throw about shells, even the children do not seize them. Provinces are distributed, let children look to that. Money is distributed, let children look to that. Praetorships, consulships are distributed, let children scramble for them, let them be shut out, beaten, kiss the hands of the giver, of the slaves. But to me these are only dried figs and nuts. What then? If you fail to get them while Caesar is scattering them about, do not be troubled, if a dried fig come into your lap, take it and eat it, for so far you may value even a figure. But if I shall stoop down and turn another over, or be turned over by another, and shall flatter those who have got into the Caesar's chamber, neither is a dried fig worth the trouble, nor anything else of the things which are not good, which the philosophers have persuaded me not to think good. Show me the swords of the guards. See how big they are, and how sharp. What then do these big and sharp swords do? They kill. And what does a fever do? Nothing else. And what else falling, tile? Nothing else. Would you then have me to wonder at these things and worship them, and go about as the slave of all of them? I hope that this will not happen, but when I have once learned that everything which has come into existence must also go out of it, that the universe may not stand still nor be impeded, I no longer consider it any difference whether a fever shall do it or a tile or a soldier. But if a man must make a comparison between these things, I know that the soldier will do it with less trouble, to me, and quicker. When then I neither fear anything which a tyrant can do to me, nor desire anything which he can give, why do I still look on with wonder, admiration? Why am I still confounded? Why do I fear the guards? Why am I pleased if he speaks to me in a friendly way, and receives me, and why do I tell others how he spoke to me? Is he a Socrates, is he a Diogenes that his praise should be a proof of what I am? Have I been eager to imitate his morals? But I keep up the play and go to him, and serve him so long as he does not bid me to do anything foolish or unreasonable. But if he says to me, "Go and bring Leon of Salamis," I say to him, "Seek another, for I am no longer playing." The tyrant says, "Lead him away, to prison." I follow, that is part of the play. But your head will be taken off. Does the tyrant's head always remain where it is, and the heads of you who obey him? But you will be cast out unburied. If the corpse is I shall be cast out, but if I am different from the corpse, speak more properly according as the fact is, and do not think of frightening me. These things are formidable to children and fools. But if any man has once entered a philosopher's school and knows not what he is, he deserves to be full of fear and to flatter those whom afterwards he used to flatter, and if he has not yet learned that he is not flesh nor bones nor sinews, Nera, but he is that which makes use of these parts of the body and governs there and follows, understands, the appearances of things. Yes, but this talk makes us despise the laws. And what kind of talk makes men more obedient to the laws who employ such talk? And the things which are in the power of a fool are not law. And yet see how this talk makes us disposed as we ought to be even to these men, fools, since it teaches us to claim in opposition to them none of the things in which they are able to surpass us. This talk teaches us as to the body to give it up, as to property to give that up also, as to children, parents, brothers, to retire from these, to give up all. It only makes an exception of the opinions, which even Zeus has willed to be the select property of every man. What transgression of the laws is there here, what folly? Where you are superior and stronger, there I gave way to you. On the other hand, where I am superior, do you yield to me, for I have studied, cared for, this, and you have not. It is your study to live in houses with floors formed of various stones, how your slaves and dependents shall serve you, how you shall wear fine clothing, have many hunting men, lute players, and tragic actors. Do I claim any of these? Have you made any study of opinions, and of your own rational faculty? Do you know of what parts it is composed, how they are brought together, how they are connected, what powers it has, and of what kind? Why then are you vexed, if another who has made it his study, has the advantage over you in these things? But these things are the greatest. And who hinders you from being employed about these things and looking after them? And who has a better stock of books, of leisure, of persons to aid you? Only turn your mind at last to these things, attend, if it be only a short time, to your own ruling faculty. Egemonicon, consider what this is that you possess, and whence it came, this which uses all other faculties, and tries them, and selects and rejects. But so long as you employ yourself about externals you will possess them, externals, as no man else does, but you will have this, the ruling faculty, such as you choose to have it, sorted and neglected. Book 4. Chapter 8. Against those who hastily rush into the use of the philosophic dress. Never praise nor blame a man because of the things which are common to all, or to most, and do not ascribe to him any skill or want of skill, and thus you will be free from rashness and from malevolence. This man bathes very quickly. Does he then do wrong? Certainly not. But what does he do? He bathes very quickly. Are all things then done well? By no means, but the acts which proceed from right opinions are done well, and those which proceed from bad opinions are done ill. But do you, until you know the opinion from which a man does each thing, neither praise nor blame the act. But the opinion is not easily discovered from the external things, acts. This man is a carpenter. Why? Because he uses an axe. What then is this to the matter? This man is a musician because he sings. And what does that signify? This man is a philosopher because he wears a cloak and long hair. And what does a juggler wear? For this reason, if a man sees any philosopher acting indecently, immediately he says, "See what the philosopher is doing," but he ought because of the man's indecent behavior rather to say that he is not a philosopher. For if this is the preconceived notion, prolepsis, of a philosopher and what he professes, to wear a cloak and long hair, men would say well, but if what he professes is this rather, to keep himself free from faults, why do we not rather, because he does not make good his professions, take from him the name of philosopher? For so we do in the case of all other arts. When a man sees another handling an axe badly, he does not say, "What is the use of the carpenter's art? See how badly carpenters do their work," but he says just the contrary, "This man is not a carpenter, for he uses an axe badly." In the same way, if a man hears another singing badly, he does not say, "See how musicians sing," but rather, "This man is not a musician." But it is in the matter of philosophy only that people do this. When they see a man acting contrary to the profession of a philosopher, they do not take away his title, but they assume him to be a philosopher, and from his acts deriving the fact that he is behaving indecently, they conclude that there is no use in philosophy. What then is the reason of this? Because we attach value to the notion, prolepsin, of a carpenter, and to that of a musician, and to the notion of other artisans in like manner, but not to that of a philosopher, and we judge from externals only that it is a thing confused and ill-defined. And what other kind of art has a name from the dress and the hair, and has not both theorems and a material and an end? What then is the material matter of the philosopher? Is it a cloak? No, but reason. What is his end? Is it to wear a cloak? No, but to possess the reason in a right state. Of what kind are his theorems? Are they those about the way in which the beard becomes great or the hair long? No, but rather what Zeno says, to know the elements of reason, what kind of a thing each of them is, and how they are fitted to one another, and what things are consequent upon them. Will you not then see first if he does what he professes when he acts in an unbecoming manner, and then blame his study, pursuit? But now when you yourself are acting in a sober way, you say in consequence of what he seems to you to be doing wrong, "Look at the philosopher." As if it were proper to call by the name of philosopher one who does these things, and further, this is the conduct of a philosopher. But you do not say, "Look at the carpenter," when you know that a carpenter is an adulterer or you see him to be a glutton, nor do you say, see the musician. Thus to a certain degree even you perceive, understand, the profession of a philosopher, but you fall away from the notion, and you are confused through want of care. But even the philosophers themselves, as they are called, pursue the thing, philosophy, by beginning with things which are common to them and others. As soon as they have assumed a cloak and grown a beard, they say, I am a philosopher. But no man will say, I am a musician, if he has bought a plectrum, fiddlestick, and a lute, nor will he say, I am a smith, if he has put on a cap and apron. But the dress is fitted to the art, and they take their name from the art, and not from the dress. For this reason Euphrates used to say, well, a long time I strove to be a philosopher without people knowing it, and this, he said, was useful to me, for first I knew that when I did anything well, I did not do it for the sake of the spectators, but for the sake of myself. I ate well for the sake of myself, I had my countenance well composed and my walk, all for myself and for God. Then, as I struggled alone, so I alone also was in danger. In no respect through me, if I did anything base or unbecoming, was philosophy endangered, nor did I injure the many by doing anything wrong as a philosopher. For this reason, those who did not know my purpose used to wonder how it was that while I conversed and lived altogether with all philosophers, I was not a philosopher myself. And what was the harm for me to be known to be a philosopher by my acts and not by outward marks? See how I eat, how I drink, how I sleep, how I bear and forbear, how I cooperate, how I employ desire, how I employ aversion, turning from things, how I maintain the relations to things, those which are natural or those which are acquired, how free from confusion, how free from hindrance. Judge of me from this, if you can. But if you are so deaf and blind that you cannot conceive even Hephaestus to be a good smith, unless you see the cap on his head, what is the harm in not being recognized by so foolish a judge? So Socrates was not known to be a philosopher by most persons, and they used to come to him and ask to be introduced to philosophers. Was he vexed then as we are, and did he say, and do you not think that I am a philosopher? No, but he would take them and introduce them, being satisfied with one thing, with being a philosopher, and being pleased also with not being thought to be a philosopher. He was not annoyed, for he thought of his own occupation. What is the work of an honorable and good man? To have many pupils? By no means. They will look to this matter who are earnest about it. But was it his business to examine carefully difficult theorems? Others will look after these matters also. In what then was he, and who was he, and whom did he wish to be? He was in that, employed in that, wherein there was hurt, damage, and advantage. If any man can damage me, he says, I am doing nothing. If I am waiting for another man to do me good, I am nothing. If I wish for anything, and it does not happen, I am unfortunate. To such a contest he invited every man, and I do not think that he would have declined the contest with anyone. What do you suppose? Was it by proclaiming and saying, I am such a man? Far from it, but by being such a man. For further, this is the character of a fool and a boaster to say, I am free from passions and disturbance. Do not be ignorant, my friends, that while you are uneasy and disturbed about things of no value, I alone am free from all perturbation. So is it not enough for you to feel no pain, unless you make this proclamation, come together all who are suffering gout, pains in the head, fever, ye who are lame, blind, and observe that I am sound, free, from every ailment. This is empty and disagreeable to hear, unless like Aesculapius you are able to show immediately by what kind of treatment they also shall be immediately free from disease, and unless you show your own health as an example. For such is the cynic who is honored with the scepter and the diadem by Zeus, and says, that you may see, O men, that you seek happiness and tranquility not where it is, but where it is not. Behold, I am sent to you by God as an example, I who have neither property nor house, nor wife nor children, not even a bed, nor coat, nor household utensil, and see how healthy I am. Try me, and if you see that I am free from perturbations, hear the remedies and how I have been cured, treated. This is both philanthropic and noble. But see whose work it is, the work of Zeus or of him whom he may judge worthy of this service, that he may never exhibit anything to the many, by which he shall make of no effect his own testimony, whereby he gives testimony to virtue, and bears evidence against external things. His beauteous face pales not, nor from his cheeks he wipes a tear. Odyssey, 11:524. And not this only, but he neither desires nor seeks anything, nor man nor place nor amusement, as children seek the vintage or holidays, always fortified by modesty as others are fortified by walls and doors and doorkeepers. But now, these men, being only moved to philosophy, as those who have a bad stomach are moved to some kinds of food which they soon loathe, straightway rush towards the scepter and to the royal power. They let the hair grow, they assume the cloak, they show the shoulder bare, they quarrel with those whom they meet, and if they see a man in a thick winter coat, they quarrel with him. Man, first exercise yourself in winter weather, see your movements, inclinations, that they are not those of a man with a bad stomach or those of a longing woman. First strive that it be not known what you are, be a philosopher to yourself, or philosophize to yourself, a short time. Fruit grows thus, the seed must be buried for some time, hid, grow slowly in order that it may come to perfection. But if it produces the ear before the jointed stem, it is imperfect, a produce of the garden of Adonis. Such a poor plant are you also, you have blossomed too soon, the cold weather will scorch you up. See what the husbandmen say about seeds, when there is warm weather too early. They are afraid lest the seeds should be too luxuriant, and then a single frost should lay hold of them and show that they are too forward. Do you also consider, my man, you have shot out too soon? You have hurried towards a little fame before the proper season, you think that you are something, a fool among fools, you will be caught by the frost, and rather you have been frostbitten in the rope below, but your upper parts still blossom a little. And for this reason you think that you are still alive and flourishing. Allow us to ripen in the natural way, why do you expose us? Why do you force us? We are not yet able to bear the air. Let the root grow, then acquire the first joint, then the second, and then the third, in this way then the fruit will naturally force itself out, even if I do not choose. For who that is pregnant and filled with such great principles does not also perceive his own powers and move towards the corresponding acts? A bull is not ignorant of his own nature and his powers, when a wild beast shows itself, nor does he wait for one to urge him on, nor a dog when he sees a wild animal. But if I have the powers of a good man, shall I wait for you to prepare me for my own proper acts? At present I have them not, believe me. Why then do you wish me to be withered up before the time, as you have been withered up?